Let's run 10 junk miles together. I'm Scott Coomer with host Siva Belliflagristicexpialidocious.
How's your day today?
Everybody's waiting for that for a long time. Adam Bankers.
Hello.
The thin, sober, salad-eating son of a bitch, Tony Silvestri.
Hello.
All of those things are true.
Hey. And today we have a very special guest, but we're not going to get to them for a little while. And then this episode is brought to you by the Smith Physical Therapy and Running Academy in Crystal Lake, Illinois. We're going to tell you all about them and what they do via interview later on, and we're actually going to have an ad for them too. And they're sponsoring the show, and we thank them for their sponsorship. Now, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to call our sponsor of the show. And today, our sponsor is... I don't know.
That's not good. What are the reviews? What the 10 Junk Miles reviews? Or?
Yeah, I know. I keep hoping for a bad one.
Yeah, we need like more 1-star reviews.
He kind of merged the "how you doing today" with the "how you doing, babe." It's like an amalgamation of all of the possible. This episode is brought to you by the Smith Physical Therapy Running Academy. 85% of recreational runners are injured every year. This is both shocking and unacceptable. 85%.
Really? That's a lot.
It seems high. 500 million straws.
Well, you know what? We are in a very small world of running.
Yes.
You know, I mean, you go into a 5K, you see all the stretching, you see all the shit that's going down. Those people probably get injured a lot more than
Cheers, corporate challenge.
No sport should have such a high injury rate. The way to lower the number is to learn how to run. How many of you have actually been taught how to run? We don't mean being told how many miles to run, but being taught the biomechanics of this wonderful sport. Every sport has a set of skills that need to be learned and to be avoided to avoid injuries and to optimally perform. Yes, I'm cold reading this. Running is no different. The running technique teachers at Smith Running Academy can teach you how to run faster, run longer, and run without pain. They offer virtual teaching lessons so that no matter where you live, you can learn the skill of running. Through video analysis and drill instructions, you can see and feel the changes that need to occur to make you a smarter runner. The simple process starts by visiting smithptrun.com to contact your teacher. The teacher will then schedule your first virtual session and instruct you on filming for the videos that will be used to help during the lesson. Your technique teacher will then prescribe individual drills to help you reach your goals. The technique teachers at Smith Running Academy are runners who happen to be physical therapists. They love, and this is kind of a neat thing because the great Joe Yuhan, who came to trail camp, is another physical therapist who's also a runner who has, like, he does videos and shows pictures and you, like, if you film yourself, you can send. I think that's what we're talking about here. We're going to get more from Denise, and she's going to explain this out. But I think that's where we're going with this. Anyway, the technique teachers, who are the running PT therapists, they love this sport as much as you do. Their mission is to help you make it through the season without an injury and help you meet all your running goals through a better understanding of biomechanics. Visit smithptrun.com for more information or follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Smith Physical Therapy Running Academy. And this is not an ad only directed at people in the Chicago metro area. My understanding, and we're going to find out right now, is that they also offer these services all over the state. I talked to Denise a little bit. So that's what she paid for. The rest of this is just like me being interested. I wanted to know what this was about because it sounded interesting and it sounded like something that would help people. And so what I told her was, in addition to the ad, which she's going to run more than just once, I was going to call her up and just spend a couple minutes talking to her about what they are and what they do and explaining to this, you know, in layman's terms, so that people can take advantage of what they have to offer. So we're going to call Denise.
Looks like a virtual PT, like they give instructions over interwebs.
I'm always curious, you know, like a PT's got to help with little things that bug you as a runner.
Yeah.
I mean, always, right?
Hello.
Hi, is this Denise?
It is.
Hey, Denise, you're live with the 10 Junk Miles crew. How are you?
I'm great, guys. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
How's your day today?
It's been a great day.
Well, we just read the ad, and then I told everybody, okay, that's what they bought. And now what we want to do is go a little bit beyond that and find out first who you are and how you got into doing what you do, and then a little bit more about what you do. So why don't you just start by just giving us a little bit of your background, your bio.
Oh, sure, I can do that. So I have been a physical therapist for about 15 years now, and started treating runners pretty much right out of college. Had a special love for treating. I'm a runner myself, so it was a nice segue. And I would always get runners back to running after their injuries, no problem. But then inevitably they always came back. And so I couldn't figure out what piece I was missing. So I started taking a bunch of continuing ed classes and trying to figure out what piece of the puzzle I was missing to help the prevention side of it. And took a seminar that was taught by Dr. Nicholas Romanoff on the pose method of running, and really realized that there was a biomechanical piece of my understanding that I was missing. So spent a lot of time taking more courses on understanding how the body worked during running and why form and technique work are so important to preventing injuries. And in the meantime was working for a corporate company, seeing like 20 patients a day, and got burned out from that and realized that there was a niche to working on prevention with runners. And so in 2015, I opened Smith Physical Therapy and Running Academy in the northwest suburbs of Crystal Lake, where we work with mostly runners, or I do, work with mostly runners on injuries that are related to running or on prevention of injuries to help also with performance. So it's been a great ride these past couple years.
What is the pose method in a nutshell?
So pose method is a systematic approach to teaching running. So using how to use your body weight correctly, how to maximize the efficiency using proper muscles. We do it through drills. And there's a word in physical therapy that we use called proprioception, which is your body's ability to understand where it is in space. So really training that component of running. Every other sport has a set of drills or a set of skills that need to be learned. So my son is 6. He's learning or 7 now, learning how to play baseball. And his coaches sit there and make him throw over and over and over again to get the proper technique with pitching. And in running, we don't do that. We don't ever sit and make people understand how to properly run, where they should be landing, how they should be getting their foot up off the ground, how they should be moving their body weight forward. And so that's what the pose does, is uses drills to train people's proprioception on how to move properly.
So let's say, I mean, obviously you're in Crystal Lake, and if I wanted to call you up and make an appointment, I could probably come and see you, and you could treat me right there in your office, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
I have a brick and mortar for that.
And then let's say that I'm listening to this and I'm in Sweden, because we have listeners in Sweden, and they're like, well, what the hell do I want to, what good is this some lady in Crystal Lake, Illinois? You know, like, how can she help me?
Well, what I did was I expanded my services virtually this year. So I have a lot of my runners that travel, and so they will send me their videos. And I thought, well, why can't I do this with people that are outside Chicagoland area? And so that's what I did. I launched a virtual technique teaching segment of my business to work on people that aren't within a driving distance. So what they do is they will videotape themselves running from 4 different angles, and then pictures of them squatting. And they email them to me, and then we set up a Skype session, or now a Zoom session, and go through their video step by step, showing them where they should be landing, what's happening in their running technique that either is causing some pain or not allowing them to perform to their capabilities. And then through drills, I have them practice the drills, refilm themselves, and then send me the videos back. So just through videos, thank God for computers and the internet, social media, we can communicate that way.
So then is this the kind of thing that, like, let's say our guest today, Siva, let's say we go out, we make his 4 videos, you know, he does his squatting, which, you know, is native to his country. And then we send all that information to you, and then you look at it and you figure out what he's doing wrong. You give him the fix. Is there like a point where then you say, okay, Siva, now you know how to run, you're free, go do whatever you want? Or is this something you have to just continually do forever?
Well, I believe that skill of running is something that you do need to work on forever. There's never anybody. I mean, there are some people with amazing form, but there's always something we can work on. There's a reason why professional golfers and hockey players still work on their skills and their drills. running is the same way. So in the virtual teaching world, there comes a time when you don't need me analyzing your form anymore because you have it for the most part, but you still need to do the strength training drills and the technique work. So usually most runners need between 1 and 4 sessions with me because we work on different components, and some people are natural with some of the components. They don't need any fixing with that, but there are some elements of running that they need tweaking with, and that's where I come in and tweak the things that need to be tweaked. If it doesn't need to be tweaked, we don't touch it.
So Denise, this is Siva.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
From your experience, do you see like runners, is this purely like injury prevention, or do you see runners whose pace has improved, or they see other improvements? What have you seen historically from your experience?
Well, it's a little bit of both. So runners find me either because they are trying to prevent an injury that they had last season, or they have an injury that hasn't gone away. The upside to that is we'll start seeing their PRs go down, that their times are getting better because they're becoming more efficient. And I also have clients that call me saying, listen, I really want to shave. I'm trying to qualify for Boston. I need to shave about 6 minutes off my time. And so we look at efficiency and technique. And when you are more efficient in your running, you can shave time off because you're not wasting time. One of the biggest culprits of a time suck for runners is vertical oscillation.
I thought she was going to say Facebook.
This up and down.
Sorry. Vertical oscillation.
Yes. So it's this up and down motion that runners do. It happens when you try to push off the ground, because when you try to push off of a hard surface, it's going to send you directly up into the air. And so some studies are actually showing that excessive vertical displacement can add mileage to your time. So up to 2 miles extra that you're really running because you're going up and down versus forward. And so sometimes when we eliminate that, people can shave minutes off of their PRs just by becoming more efficient.
So they're going to contact you, get you the video, get you the squatting, and then it's 1 to 4-ish sessions to get their everything fixed and straightened out. And then do people come back to you when they start having like an injury problem, or like Adam in our podcast here, he's got like a problem with his foot or something flares up with him. Then do people come back to you and say, I'm having a problem, and then you look at everything again?
Yeah, because sometimes things will change. Think about any time you learn to do something new. You're going to be very hyper aware of it in the beginning. You're really going to focus on it. And then eventually you're going to settle in and be confident. Well, bad habits can creep back in. And so that's where I'll say, all right, well, now we need to add this drill because you're doing this and this well, which you weren't doing before. But now I'm noticing that you are letting your foot whip out to the side. So to correct that, I need you to retrain your technique on that. And so sometimes it's a totally different problem that may be unrelated. Or it could be that they have an imbalance that we weren't aware of before, but now it's coming out, that they're becoming more efficient.
So you could make people faster. You can help people with their pain. This all sounds good. If I was at home, I might be asking, how expensive is this? Does this cost a ton of money?
No, I mean, for your listeners, I can definitely do a discounted rate. So it's normally $100 for the first session and then $85 for each additional. But for your runners, we could do $50 for the first session. I think that when people learn, my whole goal too is to teach the runners as much as I can. There's usually a time span between when they need me. So I'll have them practice this stuff for 3 to 4 weeks before we have our next session. I think the more you practice stuff and the more you start learning what is Denise looking at on her video analysis, there's a lot you can do on your own, so that our sessions become very efficient and very time oriented, because you know what you're looking for now. So you can film yourself, look at it, go back and say, okay, I actually think I'm doing this. I know what to do. So the more I can teach you guys, the better they become over time.
All right. So if you're listening at home, you can take advantage of this offer by going to smithptrun.com. It's also on Facebook. It's also on Instagram. Denise Smith, certified manual physical therapist and certified running technique specialist in Crystal Lake, Illinois. We'll post a link on our show, and then we'll put a link in the show notes as well. 2 other questions, probably things people are asking. You say you're a runner. Are you a trail runner, ultra runner, marathon, speedster? What's your running?
Well, I have pretty much done all of the above, and it's just been at different times in my life. I have gone from training for marathons to doing triathlons, to now that I have 2 children, my husband travels, and I have my own business. It is now, I just run to clear my head. As my business settles in, I can hire more staff. I'd like to get back to, I really love sprint triathlons that involve trail running. So that way I get a little bit of everything.
Nice. And then I guess my last question is, what is the biggest problem that you see with runners, other than maybe if you saw like a video of Camille Herron once? Let's just put that on like the side. But like, what's the biggest problem you've ever seen? I mean, she runs like a spaz, right? I mean, she's like all arms and legs everywhere, and there's no form at all. Anyway, so what's the biggest problem that runners tend to have?
Well, can I say 2 things?
Sure.
One is that they rely on shoes to fix problems.
I was going to ask you about shoes.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
So shoes. So my husband is a huge golfer. I'm really trying to learn how to golf, but I have the worst swing in the world. I mean, it's terrible. So no matter what club I try, my swing is still going to be horrible until I learn how to properly swing. And once I learn how to swing the right way, a club can enhance my performance. I might be able to drive the ball an extra 50 yards, but it's not going to fix my swing. So running shoes are the exact same thing. Running shoes can enhance your performance, but they cannot fix a deficiency. So if you go to a shoe store, and there's amazing shoe stores with really skilled fitters, if you have a problem that your foot is rolling, a lot of times they'll say, oh, you're an overpronator, so let's put you in a stability shoe. The problem is they aren't looking all the way up the chain. So there might be a deficiency in your hip that's causing your foot to roll. Or you might be landing too far ahead of your body weight, which is causing your foot to roll. So now bracing that or getting orthotics can actually cause other problems. So you just have to understand that shoes cannot fix form. Shoes can enhance performance and protect your feet, but they're not going to fix a problem. So I always say, if you want to get new shoes, go get a video analysis first, fix any deficiencies that are there, and then get fit with a pair of shoes that fit you for what you really are doing.
Did you say shit?
So that's my...
You can't swear on the show. It's like FCC regulations.
Can you believe...
No, you can say whatever you want.
Beep it out.
One of our friends just bought a shoe insert for $1,700.
What?
So, Denise, this is Adam. I have what's called capsulation, I think, of my second metatarsal joint.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but that's what the doctor told me. So he made me these orthotics that are all specialized. They were like $1,700, and I just keep running.
No, you need to pay her $100 for the
My
consulting.
foot always hurts. Whatever. I don't know. So
what's the second thing, Denise? You said shoes is number one.
yeah.
Well, and this might be part of the problem, which is why you're still having your foot hurt, is that overstriding, landing too far ahead of your body weight is the most common thing that runners do that they could fix very easily by shortening their stride. When you land too far ahead of your body weight, the impact has to travel up through your leg, and usually your knee is locked out and your ankle is locked out. So your joints are now locked, and bones end up absorbing force, which they're not supposed to do. So the closer to underneath your body weight you land, it's physically impossible to land directly underneath your body weight. So we get that as close as possible. Then your muscles and tendons can do their job and absorb the weight. So for a little technique tip for everybody out there, cadence is something that's finally getting the publicity it needs in some of these running magazines. And the role of cadence is to get you on and off your feet quickly. So the quicker your turnover is, the less likely you are to land too far ahead of your body weight, and you'll pull your other foot underneath you quicker. So you'll have a shorter stride, higher turnover, which leads to less time on the ground, which is less impact, which leads to less injuries.
Makes sense.
So you can download a metronome app. They're free. Set it to 180. Research has found that 180 beats per minute is the ideal cadence. So your feet are coming on and off the ground 180 times in 1 minute. So you can use a metronome app or a playlist that has songs that are set to 180 and keep up with the beat. Your tendons love rhythm. And so people that suffer from tendonitis issues, benefit from cadence work because the tendons now are able to fire and absorb force the way they're designed. And so using that cadence to work on your turnover helps with injury prevention, and it helps with shortening your stride overall.
I found, like, as I've gotten older, that gets more and more difficult because my watch keeps track of that for me. And, like, when I was, like, 35, it was pretty easy to hit, like, 178 to 180. And now that I'm, like, 43, it's, like, more like 174. So that fades as I age, too. So I imagine that would be more important as we age.
Well, and this probably leads me to a third thing that I would probably say that most runners
she's going for
have
3. We didn't pay for this one.
Is strength training. Running is not strength training. And my runners get really upset when I say that, but running is not the same thing as strength training. So as our bodies age, we need longer times to recover, but we also need to support it more. And so strength training, there is nothing
Runners
wrong
are supposed to strength train?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Oh, my God.
I've been doing
like,
it for
what?
upcoming race.
You mean I can't just run 5 more miles and that makes up for my strength training? No, you actually have to put the time in.
Shit.
So see, you just said shit.
Oh yeah, we were totally fucking with you.
You can swear as much as you want.
I do just want to also add that I had an interview of a guy, Dave Proctor, who's going to run across Canada this year, and we talked a lot about this issue of the beats per minute and the things, and he's actually made a playlist of songs by beats per minute. It's in his blog. It's like one is by U2, 183 beats per minute. Everyday People, Arrested Development, 183 beats per minute. So there's,
Spotify has playlists by beats per
and so
minute.
does that, and even on Amazon Prime, you can look it up. Rock My Run is another great app that has all that. Now, I do a lot of work with middle school and high schoolers to work on injury prevention, and the middle schoolers, especially the younger ones, are good with some Disney music, a lot of Disney music. So if you run with your kids, get them used to this idea of rhythm early on, because there's a ton of Disney songs that are 180 beats per minute that kids get the hang of, so that by the time they're actually running for competition, they've already got some of these good habits ingrained in them.
Tony did the Disney marathon, so he's big into
And Adam runs with his dog. So
yeah.
I run with my dog.
All right.
For rhythm helps other things too.
My daughter learned how to breathe on a rhythm today. So yeah, she's 4, and we ran like 3/4 of a mile, and we started out, and all of a sudden I hear her going, and I think, you're doing this on purpose, right? I said, breathe out for 2 and in for 2. And by the time we made it to like a 1/4 mile, she was about there.
You know what? There's adults that don't know how to. Can you have her on for a podcast that can teach some of my runners how to breathe?
She's actually been on the show once already. We talked about it was great. We talked about North Korea. We had all kinds of.
Did she swear? Did she say
She
shit?
did not say shit. No, she did not. All right. So if you want to learn more and take advantage of this $50 offer, it's Smith PT.
Run.com.
Run.com. If you're a current patient of Dr. Smith, make sure you tell her that you heard her on here and how amazing she was. And if you have a friend that needs to be monitored, or you want to take a picture of them squatting, for example, Siva, we could make this like another level on the Patreon, right? Like if you donate a certain amount of money, you could take a picture of Siva squatting and send it to someone.
Right.
But
I don't know if I can do it anymore.
You know what? How about if we can get some people to donate some money to you guys? I'll do video analysis on all of you guys.
Oh my God, wants to see that.
You got to see Scott doing a squat.
Yeah.
It's just miserable.
Well, we'll see how that pans out, or maybe if you get a bunch of people that come there, maybe we'll do one of us, and then we could report on what it was like and how we've changed.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Adam has a lot of pain, and Tony's not getting any faster, and like maybe somebody
Scott can't squat.
I just don't want to run. I'm going to Mexico. So, but SmithPTRun.com, and thank you so much for stopping by, and hopefully some people come and take advantage of this.
Well, I really do appreciate you guys letting me be on today. And, I think that you guys are doing awesome things for the industry. So thanks for educating the runners out there.
Awesome.
Thanks, Denise.
Thanks, Denise. You have a great night.
All right. Thanks, you guys, too. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.